everyone, Caitlin here from Pinnacle Training Systems. Today we're going to go over our first movement, and that's the squat. So the squat is the reason we're doing that as the first one is the squat is extremely important in terms of functionality. So again, it correlates directly to movements that we do in our everyday living. So it is extremely important to perform this exercise properly. So during this exercise, you're going to be primarily using your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, and fun fact for the day, the squat is the best core exercise that you could possibly do. So you're going to see how a lot of these stabilizers and accessory muscles come into play in the squat. So essentially, it's almost a full body movement. So I'm just going to do a quick demo from a front profile and a side profile, and then I'm going to break down the movement. So here from the front, and here from the side profile. All right, so now let's break it down step by step. So first of all, in our stance, when we establish a stance of the squat, we want it to be either hip width, no more than shoulder width apart. So remember, your hips is what's carrying your body and is also what your legs are in line with. So again, hip width would be the best. If you cannot do a full range of motion squat, we're going to break it down and work our way to that full range of motion. So step number one, establish our stance. Step number two, we want our weight to be in our heels. So from starting all the way to finish, we should be able to wiggle our toes. So when I go down I'm going to show you in the side profile, when I go down into my squat, I can wiggle my toes because my weight is in my heels, and I explode up from my heels to full extension. Okay, so weight in the heels. So stance, hip, no more than shoulder width, weight in the heels. Step three, we initiate the movement from our hips. So our hips are going back. A lot of people make the mistake of starting the movement with their knees. We want to start with our hips. Everyone has this natural curve. It's called our lumbar curve in our spine. We want to make sure our core stays tight and that curve stays the same throughout the whole movement. So my hips are what's going to start the exercise. Okay, so I'm pressing back. Okay, glutes are going back. I'm going to drop down. My weight is in my heels. Okay. Pointer number 5, I believe we're at. We do not want our knees to be above our toes. So if you're squatting and your knees are going above your toes, that generally means that you're starting the movement at your knees. Okay? If we start the movement at our hips, we drop down and we should almost be in line or in front of our toes. So again, I wiggle my heels on my ascend. I explode right out of my heels again to full extension. So I'm really engaging that core, and again, our major muscle groups, our glutes, our hamstrings, and our quads are being engaged in the whole movement. Now let's say that we can't do a full range of motion squat till we're at 90 degrees or below parallel. So what we want to do is we want to work on our quarter squat. So we're still working on the same muscle groups and stabilizers, okay? We're just not getting far down to that sticking point. So that sticking point is going to be here where I'm trying to overcome the maximum force, okay? So if we're not there yet, that's okay. We want to take steps to establishing this squat. So a quarter squat is where we're going to come down, same movement, hips start, and we stop a quarter of the way. Same thing, my weight's in my heels, I could wiggle my toes, and I explode up. So a quarter squat would be a great thing to start with. Another tool that you can use is a chair, like in your house or your classroom, whatever it may be, in your workplace, okay? And what we do is we're just going to sit down lightly. Again, hips go back first and explode up from the heels. Now, if you need something a little bit higher and you have that available to you, go ahead and use that as well, okay? A third thing we can do is engage in a wall sit. Now, wall sit's going to be an isometric hold, meaning we're not moving through range of motion. So what we're going to do is we're still going to get in our same hip width, okay, and walk our feet down and press our back all the way against that wall. So again, we're engaging in our core. You can hold your hands up to make it more difficult. But again, core is engaged, glutes are engaged, hamstrings are engaged, and quadriceps are engaged. So again, there's a couple little pointers to work our way up to that full range of motion squat. So let's start working on improving that functional movement, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you.